Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cruise Vibe. Tonight on Cruise Vibe, we have a special guest who God has helped. Someone who loved God so much, but a lot of issues confronted him. Somebody who has preached the word of God to people. Somebody who has been able to win souls for Christ. What happened? This person got bedridden for several months. His story will touch you. His story will make you realize that God is faithful. We are going to be hearing from him the journey so far. Welcome to Cruise Vibe. Tonight, we have a very special guest in the house. Someone very close to us, someone we know very well, someone we have been together over a period of time. Help me welcome Olatunji Oluwatosin.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
It's really nice having you
Yes, sir.
coming on board with us. We really appreciate you and we welcome you once again. Sir, I would like you to talk to us. We want to know you.
Okay. I'll start by telling us my name. My name is Olatunji Michael Oluwatosin. I hail from Ekiti State. I schooled in Ogun State and for my high school. And I went to Federal University of Ekiti for my university, where I had my BSc in industrial chemistry. Currently, I'm a teacher, and I teach math, I teach chemistry. That's a little about me, sir.
Wow, wow. So at the moment, you are based in Oyo State.
Yes, sir.
So how can you describe your journey so far?
Ooh, my journey so far. I actually want to say it has been a journey. I would say it's a journey of trust. That's what I want to caption. It's a journey of trust in God. Everything I want to do, to the point of having to take a bite, having to do anything, I must call on the Lord. So it has driven me to that point of trusting for everything, and it's been a journey, sir.
Wow, wow. Can you tell us a very brief background on how you happened to go through all this? How did it all begin?
All right. So, um, 2015, I went for IT, and I did my IT in Lagos, Ikeja. If you know CAP PLC, it's a paint industry. They produce Dulux paint. So, I was part of the quality assurance managers. So, what we do is to test paint, check for their quality. And paints have different qualities. There's the one that is made with sand, we call it weather shield. There's one without sand, just normal. There's one with kerosene. So on this day, I wanted to test a sample. So I didn't know that it was weather shield. That's the one with the sand. I thought it was just the one with the normal paint and water and the likes. So normally I just lift that one and I just put it on the desk where we test. So what happened was I didn't know it was weather shield. So I lifted it like I wanted to lift the normal paint. So the force, the weight and everything, I just heard a vibration in my spine. And immediately I was like, what has just happened? So I went to sit under the AC and I rested for a while and I was fine. I thought so. I thought I was fine. So fast forward to 3 months after, so I started to have these severe pains, my ribs, my chest, my back, everywhere. It was just pains. And I was in school. It was first semester 300 level. So I was battling with pains virtually all the time. I went to the hospital. I went to an hospital in Ekiti State, EXU. I did an X-ray. They told me they did not find anything, and and I was feeling so much pain. So for you to tell me that uh, you could not find anything and there's nothing you can do was just really pathetic for me. So I spoke with the doctor, and the doctor said that he's going to give me some drugs. So at the time, I was taking a drug of about 4,000. I think it's just 2 pills, but it's painkillers. So the moment I take them, I just become numb. You won't even feel anything. So that was the way I started to take those painkillers. And the reason was so that I could attend lectures, so I could go for classes and be fine. I would go for fellowship, but I was still in pains. And I was getting lean by the day. Yes, so I noticed afterwards that my legs began to feel numb. If I want to probably cross a gutter or just fly over, I've already fallen inside the gutter. I noticed that I could walk uh, 3 minutes and I'm already wanting to hold something. So I managed to finish the first semester. I resumed second semester. It was the same thing, still having the same experience. And the way I even did the exam was the bike man would take me from front of my room straight down to the front of the exam hall, and I'll just come down and enter the exam and just do anything, because I was in pain. You cannot imagine. The pain was my spine. So every other thing was affected. There was a day I was crying and I was calling my mom that I don't understand what's going on with me. I don't understand. I'm just feeling pains. And it got to a point. There is this drug that um, came out then, this painkiller, tramadol. So I was taking tramadol at the time. If I take it, I won't feel any pain. But the moment it goes down, oh, it's like a times three of that pain will just come. So I have to take another one, and another one, and another one. So my legs began to get affected. I would be walking and I'll be wobbled sometimes. Um, and after a while, I traveled home for the second semester. After the second semester, 300 level. So I went home, and as I got home, there were a lot of issues around my parents. I was hoping that if I get home, there's this feeling that every child has, that if I'm not feeling fine, the moment I get home, I'm going to be fine. My mom would definitely know something. My dad would definitely know something. So it happened that I wasn't taken to the hospital at the time. So I was at home, and one morning I just tried to stand up and I could not stand up. I found that I could not even sense my legs from my ribs downwards. I could not sense any sensation. So that was how I was paraplegic. I was paralyzed from my ribs down. So I was paralyzed, and for a while, nobody knew what to do. I was taken to an hospital in Lagos. We know Lasuth. I went to Lasuth, and I was in Lasuth. And as we got there, um, they took me to emergency. That's emergency unit. And if you are in the emergency unit, uh, you know, in the emergency ward, every patient that comes in is attended to immediately because it's emergency. But the moment I got there, nurses were just looking at me like I was what's going on. And my mom was, she was wondering that we are in the emergency ward and these people are not attending to us. So she went to one doctor and told the doctor that there's a patient here, please come and look at him and the likes. So the doctor said we should go to do MRI scan. And we did the MRI. When I got into the MRI machine, I we did the MRI test. When I got into the machine, I sensed that these people were not doing what was correct, but they did obviously what they felt was correct. They brought out a result, and the result showed that I was fine. Even though that, even though I was paraplegic, I was on wheelchair at the time. The result showed that I was fine, and it was baffling, and it was baffling my parents, baffling my mom. So it means we have to go back home. If the hospital tells you that you're fine, that the test result is not showing anything, what would you do? You go back home. So we went back home, started to pray. At the time, I was really bitter because I was not just a nominal Christian. Maybe I was at the time, but I felt like I was serving the Lord. I personally had a conviction to do evangelism, reach out to people every day on campus. I would go to people's house, tell them about the Lord, and then go raise disciples and the like. So for me to now get to a point where I cannot walk, became a very, very bitter experience at the time. That I was, these questions. You say, where is God? What was God looking at when all these things was happening? And why could he not just intervene? God, and I had those many questions going on in my mind at the time. So I was not talking to anyone. If my mom comes to the room, my dad comes to the room, they are talking, I just nod. And I don't allow everybody to come and visit me at the time. I only allowed one man. And the reason why I allowed the man was he had the same experience. Not the same, but he had an accident. So I think he was paralyzed. They had to sew him up. So he was sharing those experiences. So he was the one I could really, really relate to because he could understand what I was going through. So the journey continued, and I was at home for like 6 months, like that, bedridden. And as I was bedridden, my body began to decay. So, I started to have bed sores. So, bed sores at my back, sores everywhere, practically. So, I would turn. My parents would leave during the day, so I'll be left at home in the house, and I will cry, and I will scream, and I will take everything I can find and throw them, and just try to call the attention of God and say, God, where are you at this time? Can you just come? My mates have resumed. What do you want? Everybody that was asking me from school would say, brother, where are you? I was an executive in the fellowship. I had a unit. So everybody would reach out and say, where are you? When are you resuming? I'll just say, very soon, very soon, very soon. At the time, I switched off my phone because I didn't know what to say to people anymore. So, yeah, it continued. And there was a night I was in so much pain. And I actually thought that, let me just end it. The problem I'm giving everybody is too much. My mom had to shut down her shop. My dad was retired at the time, so there wasn't practically much at home. So, so there was a day. There's this hydrogen peroxide that my mom was using on my wound, on the sores. She just used it to clean it up. So that day she left, and she left the peroxide with me. So I felt like, let's end it so that we would just stop this whole drama. I just this whole experience. So as I was about to take it, I heard the voice of the Lord, and He told me, and it was not um, funny. He said that if you take this, you are going to hell. And I cried, I screamed. I said, why would you not just let me just die? Is it not better for me than to still remain in pain and disturbing everybody? So fast forward, fast forward, fast forward, and then so the night I was in pain, my my mom called our pastor, and our pastor said that there's an hospital somewhere, there's an orthopedic hospital I should be taken there. So it took me around 12 that night, 12 midnight, because I didn't even know where I was anymore. But I knew I was screaming, but I didn't know where I was at the time. So they took me to the hospital, and the doctor is a Ghanaian, looked at me and said that if they had used another hour, I'll probably have died. So they took me in, and no, they didn't take me in. The doctor said that before he does anything, he should go and bring maybe 100,000 or and the likes. And it was not like it was so much, but we had spent practically all. So we went back home and we got support. People helped, and we went back to the hospital. And then the treatment, what I called the treatment, and my journey began.